Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are, whenever you are watching this on record. We're giving you blessings. This is our last podcast of the year and a very exciting one to boot. And it is number 11 podcast, Paula. Can you believe it?
What a fabulous
Can,
number.
what a fabulous number, 1 1. And it's a very spiritual number. And today is actually December the 13th. It doesn't matter when you're watching this, but it is December the 13th when we're recording it. And 13, we believe, is a very lucky number. You know, we've been told that it's an unlucky number. And we just go along with that, really, don't we? Oh, yeah, it's unlucky. But actually, the truth is that there are 13 moon cycles. Most people think there's only 12, but there's actually 13 moon cycles. And as a woman, you have 13 cycles as well. So that's why more people are finding out they are, particularly women, are affected by the moon. So maybe that's something people who don't know about following the moon. And it's something I've only just got into in the last 2, 3 years, but it really is very powerful. So I've started on that, but I want to introduce our very, very special guest, Sigalit Hart. Hello, Siggy.
Hi, Jackie. How are you?
I'm fine. And of course, our wonderful, wonderful co host, Paula Fern.
Hello,
Hi, Paula.
hello. Hello.
Paula, I just want to bring you in now to tell you about your very, very exciting weekend you have just had. And I've known Paula for about 2, 3 years, and I have seen her confidence grow beyond anything, and it's just wonderful to watch. And what she did, I'm so proud of her. Tell us what you did at the weekend, Paula.
So, for the past 6 months, I have been doing a course with Love Thy Body project. And that course is all about body confidence because those of you that have followed my journey, my mental health journey has been all in my head. And it's been quite a rocky road. And I've never really tackled how I feel about my body because I've never had body confidence. I've always had issues around my body. I've always struggled with my weight and I've never really liked my appearance. So for the past 6 months, I've been doing a course with Love Thy Body project to work on that aspect of me because up here, I'm pretty okay most of the time. Not all the time because none of us are, but I'm pretty all right. But when it comes to my appearance, I needed to do some work around that. So that 6 months accumulated within a Narnia-esque themed ball in at Farnborough International down south, and we did a catwalk show, and we had some beautiful gowns donated to us, dresses donated, and we had some celebrities there, some people from Biker Grove and all sorts of from Waterloo Road and stuff like that, and we basically did a walk down this catwalk in our beautiful donated gowns that were just stunning. I did a quick change and then did a walk down the catwalk in our underwear. And we actually had a song written for us. There were 16 models in total. We had a song written for us. So we stayed in our underwear, did another catwalk walk while we brought other people up to come and just enjoy that moment of empowerment. It was bloody spectacular. I would never have put myself in that position. I never thought I would ever do something like that. But then just sharing that love for myself and for everyone else that was doing this, it was huge. And I've had a huge shift from that as well. So
what a way to finish a
you'll
year.
see. Just
Absolutely.
keep your eye. Watch this space because you'll see the difference in me. It's fabulous.
Yeah. Well, I've already seen the difference in you, Paula, and you might not see it because you're within it all the
Yeah,
time, but
yeah.
I definitely have in so many aspects. And the key to life is obviously love, but loving thyself as well as loving thy neighbor or whatever. But confidence.
Yeah.
Confidence is everything, and self-belief.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well done.
Thank you.
So just briefly, as always, we like to be topical. And this week, the main topic, apart from all the awful wars and everything that's going on out there, is the farming protest. Is storming ahead. I don't know if you guys have seen it, and Siggy's from London. So it's been going down in London. Farmers from all over the UK have been making their way down in the thousands. I can't imagine that London's ever seen so many tractors.
Yes.
You know, it's incredible. And I know it must be annoying when you're trying to get to places, but I think this is it. People power is everything, and you've got to hand it to them, as they did in Canada. We had the truckers, didn't we, about 2-3 years ago. You know, that was insanely fantastic, and it makes a difference. So, you know, instead of us just sitting at home and complaining about it, we've got to get up and say, no, we're not accepting it. This is not right. And obviously, you know, that takes a little bit of organization. So I'm really impressed with that. And I think we should all be backing our farmers. Why should we be backing our farmers, guys? Anybody?
I mean, personally, I think this is what it's about. You know, a lot of what I do is kind of marrying the spiritual with the Great Awakening, in a very unique way. And you know, what I say to a lot of people is that, you know, there's two aspects. There's the spiritual realm that we have to protest in through
Yeah.
our consciousness and our spiritual work, and then we have the physical realm where we have to do the effort. The physical realm is like the vessel for the light of change that wants to come. And the only change that can ever truly take effect in this world will only come from the supernal realms, from the metaphysical realm. And so it's a matter of doing both. And some people's role is to just do the physical stuff, like just show up in a protest or a peaceful protest or a trucker thing or whatever. And then the other people's job is to protest and make all the changes in these supernal realms, which, according to, you know, ancient Kabbalists, you know, we would say that, you know, 99% of the true reality is, you know, the metaphysical, the unseen reality. And we only perceive 1%, and we live in only a 1%. And quantum science, you know, it's quite similar. And actually, quantum science will eventually be the bridge from science to spirituality. And when they merge, that's kind of the link. But you know, it's like the physical realm is, you've got to kind of do both. But not everyone's role is to do. You know, it's like everyone has their job, right?
Yeah,
You have
yeah,
the
yeah.
light, have the Great Awakening people. And so long as everybody is doing their job in their realm, you know, we will get the job done. And that's what is so amazing, I think. And we've spoken about this, about,
Yeah.
you know, since 2020, this time that we're living in, is that humanity is stepping up, you know, to create this global change. And for some people, we kind of need to do both. We need to kind of go to these things, but also go there with a higher consciousness.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so we all have our role in it, but it's so important to, you know, inject energy physically, and in my opinion, in creating physical change, because real change will only come when people change spiritually and physically, and actually take actual steps into making this, you know, we talk about new earth, you know, this term
Yeah.
new earth.
Yeah.
um some people call it Messiah, Mashiach. Some people call it fifth dimensional reality. Some people call it the golden age of light. I like the golden age of light as well. It's kind of
Yeah.
like,
So do I.
so, you know, we've got to all take practical steps in our own life, as well as in our communities and in our world. And we all have our role. We all have our unique individual job in that, you know. So I think it's fantastic what they're doing. I think it was amazing what they did in Canada. And we're going to see
Yes.
so much more of that in Europe. And hopefully America needs to do a lot more, you know, to create that critical shift in the physical realm. But I think
Yeah, I mean, what you've just said just literally explains it all. It's about, our jobs, our purpose, just anybody watching our jobs on earth, our purpose. Because I believe, and I know both of you believe that we all have a purpose. And, finding your purpose, sometimes people struggle with, but I think it's becoming very, very apparent to a lot of people what their purpose is. I certainly feel like I found my purpose over the last well, it keeps evolving,
I was
doesn't it?
going to
And
say it's something that changes as well over time, isn't
yeah,
it? And it's
yeah,
something
mm,
like depending what's needed in the world, it's something that, like you say, Jackie, it completely evolves and changes, and you adapt. And you don't always know what your purpose is. It's not like you're given a piece of paper, a certificate
yeah,
that says your purpose
yeah,
is
yeah,
this. It's
yeah. It's
kind
a
of like you've got
journal.
to go where you're guided, and then
Yeah,
that it becomes clearer as you go. Mm.
yeah. And I think what I want to ask Siggy is that, I've been on my own. I know Paula's been on her own journey of finding that purpose, on the higher consciousness, spirituality. So what advice would you give, Siggy, for anyone who is just entering into the world of higher consciousness or spirituality? And I'm conscious that we need to use language, vocabulary that people, without sounding patronizing, that people will understand. Is what is higher consciousness to you, Siggy?
so. Higher consciousness is, in essence, understanding and accepting that there is another reality, right? That is not what you see in front of you. There is a soul. First of all, everybody has to accept that they have a soul, and that soul is what's driving the body to exist. And it's learning about taking those steps to learn how to work with your soul, to dance with your soul, to put your soul in the driver's seat of your decisions, of your thoughts, of your actions every day. And to bring it more on a really worldly level, what the Great Awakening, people talk about shadow work a lot, right? That's something
Yeah,
that's quite accepted. And even in psychology groups,
yeah,
we understand what that means. And shadow work is step one to removing those layers, those shells over the soul. I used to volunteer for a charity called Spirituality for Kids, for many years. And we taught spirituality, um, universal spiritual wisdom to children of all kinds in mainstream schools in London. And one of the great analogies and one of the great kind of creative examples that we gave them was that we had like a lamp, and we put the lamp on at the front of the room, and we got all the children to write something that's like, when they listen to their kind of that naughty voice inside, that kind of opposing voice, like one child would write, oh, I sorry, they wouldn't write, they would say, oh, when I shout at my mum and my dad. So he would take a piece of cloth, let's say a spotty cloth, come to the front of the room, cover the lamp. Then the next child would say, so I didn't want to clean up my room and I messed it all up. And then they took like a different type of cloth, like a stripy cloth, and they put it over the lamp. So everyone, or I had like I had a really bad thought about myself, and then another child puts it over the lamp. And eventually we said to the kids, so is the light still on? And they said, yeah, but it's dark. I'm like, yes, but the light is still on, right? So what do we need to do to make the
oh
room
wow,
bright again? And each one had to think of something positive that was soul based, like um, being more caring and sharing with my siblings. And they would come and they would take a cloth off. Next one would come and say, to learn to love myself, or something like that, take a cloth off. And eventually the room was bright again. And so, there's these simple kind of
yeah,
examples that help us, even as adults, realize that we all have a soul that's shining and is a channel for the creator, the universe, the higher energy, whatever you want to call it. And it's about, for example, Paula, this amazing experience that you've been through, that is like an example of taking off I mean, no pun intended, but like taking off the cloths from your
Yeah.
soul, even doing
Quite
something
literally, yes. It's
quite
so true. So
literally.
all those layers,
It's
yeah.
like it might seem like something so in a way simple for some people,
Yeah.
but for somebody like you, and I know loads of people who are in the same situation as you, I've battled with self-esteem issues massively for years and years, and that is essentially a practical way of starting that process of peeling off layers from our
Yes.
soul. And that's step one, which anybody can do. No one needs to be extremely spiritual to start that process. The thing is about awakening people to starting that journey of going within. And once they go within, they can truly connect to what's around. And once you tap into what's around, you're tapping into the limitless, endless, again, as Kabbalist stroke quantum science says, is 99%, 96% of the true reality, the metaphysical reality of light that's
And when
waiting.
you talk about that expansiveness, so I think
Yeah.
this is where some people get a little confused because they it can't be seen. It's expansive and it's massive and it can be felt, and there's so much. But
Exactly.
think about, we have a Wi-Fi. We can't see the Wi-Fi signal that is making this computer work. It's
Exactly.
and so I ask people all the time to question. You can't see the Wi-Fi, you can't see the radio signal, you can't see all these things that we use in everyday life.
Yeah.
And we also can't see the expansive way that spirituality and tapping into source and doing whatever it is that you do and that you believe in, you can't see that either, but it's still there. All of it's still there, and it still works and it still does stuff, even though you can't see it. So trying to explain that side of things as well, it's just a knowing as well sometimes.
Yeah, and I think there's so many times we accept, well, planes can fly, huge planes. Look at these cruise ships, have thousands and thousands of people. How does it float? But people don't question these things, but yet they question spirituality.
Yeah.
And which obviously we want people to question, but I think from birth, of course, we've been taught certain things dependent on what religion, what politics, and from our parents, from our schools, from our community. We're taught all these things. And I love that analogy that you've just given, Siggy. I really do. It's taking off the layers, taking off. I would often use the analogy of an onion. It's quite painful to do, and you will cry. But actual fact is that's what we need to do, and that is awakening, isn't it?
Yes.
In a nutshell.
By the way, I just want to say, I said this I gave a talk the other day, and someone brought up something about annoying that people in the Great Awakening sometimes are so angry and things like that, and I think they were kind of trying to promote the idea that awakening to all the truth stuff that we all know about isn't actually that good because it just makes you angry but the thing is that it is important to realize that for a lot of people at the moment, awakening to superficial truths in the world is actually crucial, and it's stage one to the spiritual trajectory that it has to continue in afterwards. And I think purely awakening to truth without spirituality, at least at some point down the line, is detrimental. And I know a lot of people who are awake who are so angry, miserable, resentful, and it's okay as long as it ends up in higher consciousness.
Exactly. And I talk about a lot about this in terms of when I do work with mental health, and it's okay to feel those emotions. Don't shy away from feeling those things.
Natural, isn't it?
What we and what people like ourselves here, our aim and one of the purposes of why we're here is to help you level up and help you find that frequency that is going to keep you settled and regulated and happy. But in the meantime, till you get there, feel the anger and use it
and question that as well.
And start moving forward.
Yeah, absolutely.
So important to I think exactly what you said. I know so many people are awakening even to the truths of and the reality, let's say, of what's been happening for centuries and centuries, and the anger. And unfortunately, when you operate on that frequency, that negative, angry frequency, your life does not improve, because ultimately we are all reaching for joy. And one of the reasons why I wanted you on today, Siggy, is creating true joy is the name of your podcast. And that is what we're all reaching for, should be. We can't stay low. I am very fortunate. I had a father who is just pure happiness and pure love. And I've had that example, and so I have always been quite a positive person. But of course, when you start unveiling the truth, the anger, upset, hurt, I found all of
fear. Fear is a lot of it.
Fear of like, is it ever going to change? But I also found the light at the same time, because I don't like that feeling, that frequency. And you can feel it once you become higher connected. It's very difficult then for us to be in places of lower frequency.
You're
I
more
struggle.
attuned to what is around, and you're striving for that move.
Yeah. And I think that's something to be aware of. I talk about the moon, but I also talk about be aware of your surroundings. Not that you want to avoid people within lower frequency, because you want to help them, don't you? But if there are too many, you've just got to step away and heal, protect yourself a little bit and prepare yourself. It's sounds more complicated than it is, doesn't it? But yeah, I love what we've just said, and I hope people have found that useful. And anyone who is on the awakening, who's watching, who wants a little bit more help, just please write a comment. And we are here to help. We're not here. We call the podcast called Truth and Revelations, but really we're here for solutions. That is the key. It's not about just telling you the truth. It's about finding a solution, because there always is one, and we've got lots of them. And Sigeli is one of those. And can you tell us a little bit about your story? How did you get here?
Well, I landed on a spaceship. No, I'm joking. So I've been on a very, very, very intensive spiritual journey for about 25 years. More of a Kabbalistic kind of nature. I met my husband.
What is Kabbalistic for anybody that doesn't know?
So Kaballah is, in terms of the Great Awakening, people will have different views about, or different understandings about what that is. But fundamentally, it's one of the oldest spiritual wisdoms in the world, to which so much of the foundation, everything we understand in our world, the biggest minds who have shaped the world that we live in terms of psychology and mathematics and astrology and astronomy and spirituality, and studied this wisdom. This wisdom is a very pure wisdom. It's sort of the building blocks to the universe and our life. And yes, it has been misused, but the dark side misused many things. But that's not Kaballah. That's not true Kaballah. True Kaballah is understanding how the universe works, understanding how the soul works, how the whole thing marries together, and how you find your divine purpose in this world, and ultimately help humanity to reach that ultimate thing, that ultimate place that we all talk about, this kind of incredible existence for every single human being, which is essentially out of the matrix, right? It's a lot of actually what we talk about in the Great Awakening. And so much of the Kabbalistic wisdom has unfortunately been suppressed massively and sort of hijacked by the dark side. They didn't want all these incredible teachings to be released to humanity. And we're so lucky, because we're living in a time now where so much of these pure wisdoms, they're being revealed now to humanity. I like to call this time that we're living in the disclosure era. right? Where, you know, we have accessibility to every kind of spirituality. We're not being drawn and quartered for, you know, talking about truth. I'm not a heretic because I'm sharing this, you know, maybe once I would have been, but not anymore. You know, now we all have access to it, and that was always the dream of every Kabbalist that ever lived. You know, and it's in writing that this divine wisdom is for every member of humanity, not just for men, not just for, you know, righteous people. It's for everybody to live their highest existence. So um, you know, so this is kind of the path that I've been on, and in terms of practice, in terms of learning, or you know, it's an intrinsic part of my life, my family's life, as well as many other spiritual paths as well that I study. And you know, so yeah, so this has been my journey, and I met my husband 15, almost 16 years ago on this path as well. I've been My background is, you know, I'm an artist. I've been in, you know, film industry, things like that. But ultimately, my original calling was like, you know, children. And, you know, I used to travel around the country being a children's reading advocate and storyteller, and helping children reconnect with, you know, books again and reading. And then I progressed from that to wanting to actually make a difference to all of humanity, not just for children. And I really felt that calling since I was about 5 years old. And I was just so waiting for that time where I could sort of come home again to my true calling. And I think a big part of that was I was given a very, very special permission to channel certain secrets of Kabbalistic secrets about angels and
Yeah, so Siggy, I'd love you to tell us a little bit about what you're doing at the moment. It's so exciting, but I can't explain it. So I think it's better coming straight from you. You've got so many exciting things coming up.
yeah.
Would you like to tell us about it?
Yeah, so I'm the founder of Spiritual Warrior Collective, which is a spiritual urban wear brand with the aim of kind of bringing higher consciousness and awakening messages and things like that through apparel, and making people kind of walk around, you know, because, you know, when you see someone who's on your level, you go, oh, I know that's one of mine, you know. And I kind of wanted to say,
Yeah.
I wanted sort of clothing like that to be kind of cool, like
Yeah.
not like new agey sort of stuff, but I wanted, like, you know, people who are awake, who are spiritual, who whatever, to kind of go out there into the world and with a statement, you know, kind of like the brand of the Great Awakening, you
I
know,
love that.
and look cool and kind of have that spiritual swagger. And we also have an affiliate partner on there. You know, we sell EMF protective gear as well, and products that can, you know, from bed canopies to Wi-Fi kind of Faraday cages and all sort of stuff like that. EMF is something I talk a lot about with people, and also recently launched the 72 Names of God angel cards as well, which is not something very, very kind of regular. I don't, you know, it's not really like apparel or anything like that, but this is something very special because, you know, we talk about the Great Awakening and the disclosure era, as I like to call it. And you know, I was given very, very special permission 5 years ago to be the first one to publicly reveal very, very high level names of angels and metaphysical sort of codes that were actually used in the splitting of the Red Sea. The true story of how Moses was able to break into that subatomic level of reality, which at the time was the Red Sea, was done through names and code and what we call spiritual technology. It wasn't a simplified story like we're accustomed to hearing in religion. There was ancient technology involved. You know, in the Great Awakening, we talk about, you know, alien technology, and there's all these kind of revelations of stuff which, once you research it, it's really hard to argue it. You know, when you see all the evidence of it, it's really, really hard. there's physical technology of an ancient kind, which is actually quite futuristic if you think about it. And these are the kind of technologies we're all going to come into in the next decade. But there's also spiritual technology, which was used throughout history to do all kinds of beautiful and amazing things that were for the benefit of humanity. And so the Kabbalists, which are, the real wizards of light, the Jedis of light, that were, the unsung hero of many events that happened in the world that were for the good. And who were also massively suppressed by religion and squashed by religion and the powers and the forces that be at the times. They laid the foundation, they created the foundation, they revealed all these secrets in writings and so on, which only now are being revealed, are being made available for everybody, which is what they were meant to be for. All the Kabbalists, they wrote that this wisdom, this spiritual technology, this, the manual to the soul, the manual to the metaphysical realm, it's all there for every single person to benefit from, regardless of religion, regardless of race, regardless of anything like that. So, so I was given special permission to do this, to breathe life into these sequences, into this technology, in the form of angel cards, purely because it's a way for the mass market to go, oh, that's something that I think I can get my head around, so I can make this work. Whereas if you just present it in the form that the Kabbalists presented it, it's too difficult. So that's just launched now. You can find it on spiritualwarriorcollective.com, as well as all the other amazing things that there. I'm also giving a talk in January, dates to be confirmed, but there will be updates of that on the website. A talk called Angels, the Metaphysical Realm, and the Great Awakening, and how that whole thing marries together, which is going to be very, very, very juicy, and a lot of secret that nobody has ever heard before to do with angels. This is new information. This is new wisdom, but how that marries with the Great Awakening is something also very, very unique, which is going to be fantastic. So that's exciting at the moment. Also, there will be, I just launched a podcast called the Spiritual Warrior Collective podcast. You can find it on Spotify and also my website. Episode 1 of that is called Creating True Joy. There will be 72 episodes covering every single topic of life, from birth to death and beyond, in ways that are perhaps not anyone has ever heard of before. Also, they will be loosely following the subject themes of the 72 cards. It's not an officially 72 Names of God Angel Cards podcast, but it's just the themes and the topics here are so incredible that they're just such fantastic inspiration for a podcast, and for, again, bringing spirituality, Kabbalistic wisdom with the Great Awakening all together, topic per topic. There's something there for every single person. So please listen to that. Please share that.
I think it's about those little baby steps as well. I think we touched on it before, like people waking up. It's terrifying for some.
It is.
We need to spoon feed and hold hands.
Exactly.
And the way that you've introduced those cards, and although the podcast isn't intended to go hand in hand with it, it kind of works that way. That's phenomenal. I'll be tuning in for sure. I'll be following you.
And I'll be buying the cards as well.
Yeah, I love that.
And it's nice because it's me and my husband as well. So different cultural references to.
Oh
no.
Oh no, we've lost her again. Oh gosh.
No. That sounds amazing. I will, when I will drop the information for this other podcast in there, and the information for the angel cards as well. It sounds absolutely incredible what she's doing, and I think it's so necessary and so needed. We've always, like, the theme of what we talk about with Truth and Revelations is always about what is opening up in the world, and it can be the stuff that's in the news and our interpretation of it, or it can be the spiritual aspect of things as well. So people like this are so valuable because they help
So valuable
through those steps.
And her background, she comes from a Jewish background. And so this is what we need. We need all diverse backgrounds, cultural people coming together and sharing. Like she said, it's not just for any specific religion, it's for everybody. And unfortunately, through the centuries, what we've done is we've separated. And now is the time, the golden era, as I like to call it, is about us all coming together now and all sharing these gifts. And we all have them. And you know, as we learn from each other, it's just so exciting. And Siggy has got a big event coming up, which she's back. Yeah, hello. Oh, no problem. We were just telling a bit about your background and saying how, you know, you come from a Jewish background, but it's about us all coming together now, all from all religions, cultures, doesn't matter.
It's
we need
to kind of pooling resources in a way. So your bit of knowledge will complement our bit of knowledge and this, that, and the other. And it's about not having that kind of, we shouldn't be hitting heads. I think that's something that we've been conditioned that we're supposed to do, but it's not at all what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to come together and really work together.
Yeah, exactly. And the understanding of each other and how they came about, really. It's always been a fascination for me. 18 years living abroad was a fascination of how religions came about in different countries and different cultural, different things that they do. There's always a reason, isn't there?
Yeah.
And that is how we should all be interested and not be fear-based, because that's why we have wars, because people are frightened of the way, because they do things differently. And I just love it. And will you tell us about your event in February?
Yes, so I recognise, having been on many awakening groups, Telegram groups, WhatsApp groups, all things like that, and as you know, Jackie, up north is much more of an awakening movement that's active in person. You know, in London, I think there's still some lack there. I don't know. There's some disconnect. It's kind of a virtual kind of movement, but it's not enough of a physical movement. People are not enough coming together as a community. And so I wanted spiritual warrior.
Isn't it?
Yeah. And you know, apparently the protest that we had during lockdowns or something like that, apparently there was about 250,000 people there or something like that. And I think the news reported there was like 150 people. You see what I mean? So the people are there, you know, it's just they need a reason to more come together. And Spiritual Warrior Collective is about you know, the Great Awakening, but also with a sort of a higher consciousness aspect to it, and helping people to navigate it without fear, with knowledge, but with no fear whatsoever. And so I wanted us to do like you know, we're kind of building monthly events. Let's see if they work as monthly. It all depends on the people. Where we have it in London, we'll have like speakers from all different kinds, you know, stretching from music industry to medical to spirituality to like across the board, sharing amazing wisdom, not in a fear-based way, in a very kind of, you know, there's a protocol on how we share information at these events. And there'll be kind of a awakening kind of, you know, networking at the back, where like-minded people can just come together and talk to each other and, you know, become friends, become, you know, in a relationship, get involved with business, with projects, just meet each other in person, talk to each other. We are amazing people. We just need to get to know each other. And we all know that feeling when you've met somebody who's like-minded, who's awake, who understands what you understand, or even who's spiritual. It's like, wow, this is like such a breath of fresh air. Because the one thing everybody says, don't care if it's in New Zealand, if it's in America, if it's in London, it's always the same sort of terminology. Oh, it's so nice to meet another awake person. Same kind of wording. So I'm really
And I think
excited
our
for that.
great movement in London, that has to happen.
Yeah,
Because we
it's
do
got to.
actually,
Yeah,
in the Northwest, I think it is quite big here.
incredible.
You know,
Yeah,
it is a big movement. So we definitely want you up here as well when we do our events. But
yeah,
also when you do event, I'm hoping to go down. Maybe Paula, you can
Yeah,
come
I'd
with
love
us.
to. Yes.
Let's get down there and let's join together.
yeah. Bring that North success, that
Yeah.
North awakening.
Well,
Share it with us. Show us how it's done.
well, I don't know about that, but anyway, it's all about that energy, and you can feel, even though we're online, the energy between all of us. It's just fantastic,
Yeah,
and that's how you feel when you're talking about things that is the future, and it is
yeah,
the future, and it is powerful, and it will create great joy. No matter what happens in the next 6 months, there's going to
yeah,
be a breakdown of beliefs, but that's a good thing, guys, and it will be a bit hard at first, but the good news is that we've all been through it, and we know the path. We know the path, a quick route instead of the long route. We're going to take you, we're going to hold your hand, and we're going to take you through there without patronizing, by holding your hand, is that the support is there, and it's so exciting. And when you see the light, and when you've taken off those bits of stripy cloth and spotty cloth, or the onions, whatever, the joy you feel is knowing. I would not turn the clock back. I would not, onto what I now know. Although it's been a very difficult path because we've been firmly on our own, haven't we? But I would not change it for the world. For what's coming to us is going to be absolutely amazing, and we're going to be part of it. And what a great time to be alive!
Yeah.
What a great time to be alive. So I'm mindful of the time,
Yep.
but we'll definitely have you on again, Sigurli, and we're going to do great things together, aren't we? And so yes, the event will be there, and we'll hopefully be part of it with Root Connections with Deborah down in Hertfordshire. Hertfordshire, what am I talking about?
London.
In London, Hampstead. It began with H. I got it right. But we're coming together. It is all about us all coming together.
I just want to say, if people follow me on my Instagram, my specific Instagram, it's Sigurlit M Hart on Instagram. I will keep everybody posted on dates, on locations, on everything about anything, and also spiritualwarriorcollective.com for updates and everything else, and also the Spiritual Warrior Collective podcast, which you can find on most major platforms as well. So yes, we'll keep everybody posted.
And we're going to put it on here and share it. Let's do it together.
I'll put the information below on how we can contact you, Sigurlit. So thank you.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you. Just one last amazing thing before we finish for Christmas. We, Root Connections, are finishing on a real high. All together collectively. We have been approached by a TV producer, an amazing woman called Susan Stansfield. She was on the podcast. I'm not sure if it was number 6, was it, Paul? I can't remember. Amazing woman who has achieved so much. And she's approached us to do a TV series, and it's going to be called Roots Round Table, and it's going to involve all these wonderful ladies. It's so exciting, and what an opportunity. Let's get behind it, because it's all about us all coming together, talking about real things and how they affect you and how we can find the solutions, because it's all right talking about it, but we've got to get the solutions, haven't we? So it's really exciting, folks. Thank you for listening to us. I hope, if it's useful to you, you may find it useful to send to a friend, anyone who's starting on the awakening process, or even if not. Paula, have you any more words to say to the end of the year?
Just have a wonderful Christmas. Don't let the pressures of Christmas, the commercialized side of Christmas, don't let it get to you. Spend time connecting, and that's the biggest part of Christmas for me. It's more about the connection and making memories, even if they're silly. memories and you've not spent that much money, that's absolutely fine, because it's about the people.
Playing games with the family. That's my favourite.
Yeah. Siggy, have you got anything you'd like to
add? Yeah, I think, this is an incredible time of year. I think a lot of people, doesn't matter where they're at in their life, they can see that we're in a massive shift, a collective shift, with everything we see in the world. And, I think, as you said, Paula, as well, this time is really about, we talk about finding, creating true joy in the podcast. I think this holiday season, I'm Jewish, but I love Christmas. I celebrate Hanukkah, but I celebrate Christmas as well. And I don't care about all the